Ma'am, please start.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Dr. Jayashree Deshpande, President, Palghar Academy of Pediatrics. And on behalf of Palghar Academy of Pediatrics and Maha-AP Women's Committee, I welcome you all. In my childhood, we used to sing a small poem. सगळ्यांना मला वाटतं आठवत असेल, कशासाठी, पोटासाठी, खंडाळ्याच्या घाटासाठी. So whatever we eat, it touches every aspect of our life. Nutrition is related to health, wealth, and of course, happiness. Today, I am happy and honored to witness where miracle has happened because of the every team efforts of Dr. Rupal Dalal, Government of India, and IIT Mumbai. Before begin, I just want to welcome you all, and again I request Dr. Amol Pawar, our Secretary General, National Secretary General and Secretary Maha-AP to say words of wisdom. Dr. Amol Pawar, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Jayashree ma'am. Thank you for inviting me for this wonderful webinar. And the topics, first of all, welcome all the delegates, Women Committee Chairperson, Dr. Manjusha ma'am, Grivita ma'am, and all the speakers and all the Palghar IIP members and Maha-IIP Women Committee members. So this Palghar Academy is doing wonderful since last 3-4 years, which I am witnessing under the presidency of previous Dr. Anjali Gokan ma'am, then Dr. With the guidance of Dr. Hemant Joshi sir and Archana Joshi ma'am. All the members of Palghar IIP are contributing to the various academic and social programs. And today's topic is also innovative. You all know the malnutrition is very big burden to the society and to the government also, and government is trying to curtail it through various measures by all the various Jilla Parishads, and this burden is mainly in because of poverty and low socioeconomic low socioeconomic strata. So today we'll be learning how this IIT Powai has reduced this burden. And the second topic is also very good, the kleptomania. This is not discussed in any of the platforms till now. So I thank Jayashree ma'am and all the best to each Palghar IIP member. And we wish all the delegates a happy learning. Thank you, Jayashree ma'am. Over to you again.
Thank you, Dr. Amol Pawar, sir. And our Beauty with Brain, our main chairperson of Women's Committee, Dr. Manjusha Sherkar, madam. I request you to say some words about this program.
Oh, thank you, Jayashree ma'am, and thank you for the all-time famous compliment. And I same to you. The same compliment for you, ma'am. On behalf of Maha-AP Committee, I extend warm greetings to everyone. It's my great privilege to welcome today's guest speaker, dear Dr. Rupal Dalal ma'am, who is dedicated towards global child and adolescent nutrition. Dr. Rupal herself is a well-known, inspiring personality, being the role model for many of us. She guides us regarding many metabolic health issues at any point of time. I always adore such a gentle, talented, hardworking, yet down to earth personality. And we are really fortunate to have you as a speaker, ma'am, today. Hearty welcome. I welcome all the dynamic speakers who all are talking on conduct disorders in children called kleptomania under the leadership of well-known developmental pediatrician, I think Dr. Samir Dalwai sir. I welcome Dr. Madhur Nagrale, Dr. Dimple Lokeshwar, Dr. Lekha Mishra Tiwari. I welcome our own Archana Joshi ma'am to talk on popular Palghar epidemiology. And I really congratulate Pargal IIP President, who is our Women Committee Zonal Member also, Dr. Jayashree ma'am, Secretary General Dr. Anuradha Palwankar, Treasurer Dr. Alka Badbade, and Dr. Hemant Joshi sir and ma'am for their untiring efforts to conduct many offline programs for unreaching population in the society. and conducting many like this useful online events also all the through year. Friends, in the entire academic journey of MahaIP Women Committee, this platform is really precious for us, and I deeply extend my gratitude towards our President, Dr. Ram Gopal Chejara sir, Honorary Secretary General, Dr. Amol Pawar sir, for giving us an opportunity and real consistent support. As well, I'm lucky to have my co-chairperson, dear Dr. Grivita Raikar, and all my Zonal Women Committee members for their wholehearted support. I welcome all the dignitaries, MMC observer Dr. Hemant Joshi sir, office bearers and viewers present here today. We appreciate the efforts of Dr. Inderjit Pandit as a moderator. So friends, let us learn more about malnutrition in India, kleptomania, conduct disorder in the children, and Palghar epidemics from today's speakers. Wish you happy learning to everyone, and thank you. Over to you, Dr. Jayashree ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Manjusha, madam. And now I request another beauty with brains, Dr. Grivita, to say words of wisdom.
Thank you so much, madam, and so are you. On a hindsight, I really thank IIP Palghar for this wonderful opportunity. And madam has already said everything. So, without wasting further time, I think we should move ahead with the academic program. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Grivita Raikar, our co-chairperson of Women's MahaIP Women's Committee. Now I request Dr. Inderjit Pandit, our own, who is practicing at Virar since last 23 years. And I request her to do the moderation for the further session. Dr. Inderjit Pandit, please take over the mic now.
Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself.
Unmute.
Hello. Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon to all the participants and the speakers. Today, our first speaker is Dr. Rupal Dalal, whom I will be introducing. It's a privilege to be introducing Madam with such a vast and an amazing portfolio. Madam has done her MBBS from Topiwala National Medical College and BYLI Hospital. She has done post-graduation in pediatrics from Cook County Children's Hospital, Chicago. She is also a fellow of American Academy of Pediatrics and an international board certified lactation consultant. Now I'll be telling you the positions held by Madam. She is an adjunct associate professor at IIT Mumbai. She is a team leader at Health Spoken Tutorial Project at IIT Mumbai. She is also a team leader for 180 Ma or Shishu Poshan Helpline, IIT Mumbai. She is a founding medical director of Foundation for Mother and Child Health, Mumbai. She is a director of health and nutrition at Srimati Malti Damankar Trust, Maharashtra. She is a consultant to Win Foundation, L&T, Tata Trust, Adani Foundation, Action Against Hunger, and various other NGOs. She is a present maternal, infant, and young child feeding consultant to Department of Health for governments of Gujarat and Goa. And Madam is also a consultant to various district and state level IS officers. And the list is never ending. I welcome Madam. She will be speaking on the topic of how IIT Powai helped to reduce malnutrition in India. Over to Madam.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Jayashree, Madam, and Dr. Manjusha. Thank you for inviting me. Really, I really appreciate it. First of all, we haven't stopped helping. We are still helping. The crux has just begun. I would like to share my PPT. So I'll just okay. Can you see my screen? Screen is visible?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So basically, as as pediatricians, crux of our or bread and butter of pediatrics is growth and development, right? And when I came back I was working in US for many years, for 13 years, and my specialty was more to do with stabilization of critical babies and children, in emergency room. So we have pediatric emergency room in US. So I was more trained in that. But when I came back to India, after almost working there for 14 years, I started working as a observer because my MD was not from India. So I didn't know a lot of diseases as pediatricians, what diseases that you see in India. Because I had not seen any single case of TB or malaria or dengue or any of those cases in US. So when I started doing rotationship, I started working under the mentorship of Dr. Amdekar. So he's my mentor. I started rotating with him in Vadia Hospital, in Jaslok Hospital, in his clinics. I wanted to see exactly how pediatric is practiced in India. And he really kind of exposed me to a lot of this, how it is to work in charitable hospital, because my goal was to help in charitable hospital or working in NGO or in government sector. So I wanted to help poor children. What I realized that whatever that I had learned in US, I had to leave it behind. Because when I came to Vadia Hospital, this was, I remember very distinctly in 2007, the very first case kind of collapsed right in front of my eyes. And we could not save because a lot of things were not, like technical things were not available, like for example, suction machine was not working. A lot of things were not, in place. So I was in tears. And I told Dr. Ambedkar on day one that I don't think I can work in India because that's what my expertise was. I was expert on more of high frequency ventilators and all those. And I said, I can't even, I could not see child dying just because suctioning machine was not working or, oxygen was not there. Anyway, so I told sir, I said, sir, tell me what to do now. I said, I definitely want to work in poor setting, but not necessarily in hospital base because, I needed kind of very, 7-class facilities, right? And he told me that if you want to work for poor children, you have to go where they come from. And he said, go to community, go to slums, start work over there. And he was the, trustee of one particular NGO called Foundation for Mother and Child Health. And he said that we are looking for a doctor to start clinics in slums or nutrition clinics, but we don't have money. So I said, don't worry, sir, I don't need money. If I wanted money, I would have stayed in US. I would not have come back to India. So that's how I started my journey. And I really thank Dr. Amdekar for guiding me and giving me this path, which I walked on, and I will share that journey with you. So basically, what I realized in Vadia Hospital, when I was there for 6 months, I rotated for 6 months. A lot of these babies, young children, were getting admitted. They were getting treated for diarrhea, pneumonia, for any of those conditions. They would go back to the community and then come back again with same diarrhea, pneumonia within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, depending upon, season, right? And what I realized, I was so used to seeing such healthy babies in the US. I always wonder why these babies are so small, why they are so little, why they are so thin, and so I wanted to really make sure that these children would not come back to Vadia Hospital just for diarrhea pneumonia and die because of lack of infrastructure, right? So my focus was, when I started working with this NGO, my focus was I wanted to see what these children go through in terms of nutrition, right? Because when you have a healthy child, the risk of, especially on mother's milk, the risk of diarrhea pneumonia goes down tremendously, right? And not only their length grows, but their MICU grows, their everything is really kind of falls into place if children are taken care of in first 1,000 days, right? So here, looking at our growth chart, again, this is the crux of our pediatrics. And I did see that many times when mothers would come with their children to our clinic in slums, they never had any documentation. There was no documentation, which was a very difficult for me to understand why these children don't have any documentation. Second thing, I never saw growth chart. Okay. Now in US, if we don't have a growth chart as a pediatrician, if you don't have a growth chart for a child, we would be blacklisted. Because if you don't know how children are growing, if you don't even track the growth of a child, then you're not eligible to take care of other problems. Okay, so first thing what I did is to start creating files for these children, and I started putting files in my clinic, because when I would give it to them, they would just lose it. So I said, I'm not going to give it to you guys. I'm going to keep it with me, and I'm going to track your how mothers were doing, how babies were doing. And again, because this is a pediatrician seminar, I want to show that the maximum weight gain occurs in first 3 months of life. So if you look at it, like literally the average birth weight as per WHO growth chart is 3.2, 3.3. So this is a girl child. So it's about 3.2 average. If you talk to any healthcare workers, anybody, okay, talking about government sector, any worker or medical officers or community health officers would say, what is the normal birth weight? They would say 2.5 kg. So we need to clear this myth that it's not 2.5 kg. 2.5 kg is fifth percentile, third percentile. Okay, we have to teach them average weight is your normal weight. That's your target. Okay, but unfortunately, the nutrition in mothers is so poor that our average birth weight in India is only 2.7. Okay, and this is like literally on the paper. If you actually go in the field, if you go to tribal areas, rural areas, even urban slums area, birth weight is much lower than 2 kg actually. And then another thing, what they are taught, this healthcare workers, that the weight gain should be 500 grams per month. This is utterly false. It's not true. If you look at again WHO growth chart, for a boy child, first 1 month they gain 1 kg. Okay, 1 to 1.1 kg. In second month they gain up to 40 grams, so 1.2 kg a month they gain. Okay, so the target which is given to healthcare workers, absolutely. And when I heard this, when I realized this, I was really surprised, because in the US, our cutoff is 900 grams per month. Okay, that's our cutoff. So if child is not gaining weight, we do start really kind of getting, we monitor these children every 2 days or so, make sure that they start gaining at least 30 grams. That's a cutoff. Unfortunately, cutoff in India is only 15 to 17 grams, which is very low. And then you can see in the weight, first 3 months, there's a good amount of weight gain. Similarly, you get good amount of length gain in first 3 months also. Okay, and as you know, that first 6 months is only breastfeeding, and 6 months to 2 years is only complementary feeding. So this particular section is, we always say that, okay, children are malnourished because they are poor, they are poor socioeconomic background. But believe me, I worked there for 16, 17, or even actually 18 years now, and that's not the cause. The cause is total lack of awareness of how to breastfeed, what food to give to in complementary feeding, what food should mother eat. So if you increase that knowledge in mothers and families, even if they come from the poorest of the poor background, children grow beautifully. Okay, because it's not that after 6 months they need to eat some very exotic, and the quantity is also not that much. So if mothers are taught what food to start, children do beautiful. Okay, so I'll just show you how. And these are some of the, of course, working in public health, we always look at large studies, right? And see how children grow, not just in India, but, basically in other countries too. So here you can see this one particular article by Dr. Hedy in 2018. It talked about the timing of growth faltering, and this growth faltering is so prevalent in India. It's absolutely mind blowing, and you can see that this particular data came out from about 700,000 children between 0 to 59 months old, and it was taken from 125 DHS, which was implemented between 92 and 2014. So it came from 57 different countries. Okay, and what they saw, so this is basically your weight for height. So this is basically, they wanted to look at the acute malnutrition, which is the SAM-MAMS, severe acute malnutrition and moderate acute malnutrition. So as you can see, children are by and large from these 57 different countries. They are not so bad at birth, but as you can see, there is a tremendous growth faltering occurring in first 9 months. and then it basically peaks after 6 months. So around 12 months it peaks, because 6 to 12 months it's your, your complementary feeding stage. So not only there is a poor milk transfer occurring, in all these countries, including India, but that after starting complementary feeding, they are not growing. Okay. And then what happens after 12 to 18 months, they slowly start picking up weight. But with this, what happens when you have such long term of malnutrition, children stop growing in length also. So now they are short, and now they are picking up weight. But when they are picking up weight, it's not that they are picking up lean mass. What they are picking up is basically fat accumulation. Okay. So these children, then they start eating a lot of junk food, a lot of empty calories like rice and wheat, which doesn't have much nutrition anyway, and then they start putting on. So wasting then gets better, at around 36 months, 30 to 36 months. Now, this is very important. Now, this is height data. Okay, obviously under 24 months is length. So you can see length also is start faltering. You can see the tremendous faltering occurring, and that continues up to 18 months of age. Okay, and that faltering does not come back to median. Okay, it stays there. That means that whatever faltering that has occurred, children has no opportunity to kind of go into remission. In a sense, they do not start gaining length later, so you can see that whatever that they have lost, it basically it stays pretty much that standard deviation. Okay. Again, another thing, another few articles which I really like, and I would really like if you can read it. So another thing, we always say that, oh, child is smiling, okay, child is on the same percentile, should be okay. I don't agree with that, unfortunately. If child, especially in India, when your child is born less than 10th percentile, that children are at risk of having poor IQ. Okay. And if you don't have a growth catch up, and so, for example, what this particular article is saying, that infant weight before 4 months, so child is gaining good amount of weight on mother's milk before 4 months of age, and if child is gaining good amount of length before 12 months of age, those children have a better IQ at 9 years of age. And this I've seen in my program also, because again, now we have lots of children who are 18, 19 years of age, and children are tall. Not only they're tall, but they are very intelligent. So do remember that infant weight gain before 4 months is very, very important. You don't want that weight gain too much after 6 months, 8 months. And when I talk about weight, I'm talking more about the lean mass, because we always take weight as just weight. You can give junk food to child and they will start putting on weight. Don't want that weight. Okay, because these children will become then insulin resistant. What we want is, we want children who are tall and lean. Okay. This is another article on IUGR and neurodevelopment. I don't want to go too much in it, but I want to talk about my program also. But again, critical period of growth, and they are saying the most important growth period is, basically your like your first 1,000 days. Okay. Now, what happens when you have a problem of nutrition insecurity? Now, nutrition insecurity, in my case, what I'm talking about, the lack of knowledge of proper breastfeeding technique and proper complementary food. Okay. So that for me is nutrition insecurity. And in that, what happens, of course, there's undernutrition and anthropometric failure, but there is poor overall health and poor hospitalization. That's why we had so many children getting admitted in Vadia Hospital just for diarrhea and pneumonia. They're also more likely to become iron deficient and other micronutrient deficient. They're of course, some of them are they have food insecurity also. They also have lower bone density as pre-adolescent boys. They also associated with obesity. So those children, they put on weight, but they also have, it's more of a fat deposition rather than lean mass, as I mentioned. And then lower cognition, they have dysregulated behavior, emotional distress. These are all a lot of issues that they go through. Here, talking about India data. So here you can see this NFHS 5 data, National Family Health Survey. Again, working with public health, always look at overall data for India. And you can see this is age-wise data of stunting, wasting, and underweight. Okay, so your red bar is your stunting, your yellow bar is your, your underweight. sorry, red is your stunting, yellow is underweight, and blue is your wasting. So you can see that stunting, children are born literally almost 30% of them have all three nutrition indicators problem. Okay, so they are stunted, they are wasted, and they are underweight also, 30% of them. As they grow older, so you can see from 6 months to 7 to 12 months of age, there is not much difference. Okay, there's not, that means there is nothing happening during this stage in from 0 months to 12 months to bring them out of this malnutrition. Okay, and then at 12 13 months to 24 months, between 1 to 2 years of age, you see tremendous increase in stunting. So here the red bar, 40% of your children between 1 to 2 years of age are stunted. So every second child is stunted. And many times we say that, okay, this is true in poverty, but if you look at NFHS 5 data, 23% children who are in the highest quintile, okay, these are 10% children who are richest of the rich in India, they are stunted. Okay, so this stunting and wasting and underweight is not just an issue of poor children, it is an issue of all the children. And if you look at the, your mid-level, right, your upper level, upper mid and mid-level, even those children almost, I would say 33% children are, underweight and stunted. Okay, but as these children are becoming stunted, so there is, you can see that up to 5 years of age, the stunting doesn't decrease much. Okay, but look at what happens to wasting. So now what is happening, these short children are eating junk food. Okay, and they are putting on weight. So as they're putting on weight as per their length or height, you can see that the wasting improves. Okay, so this is basically masking of weight. And here you see the data of undernutrition. So again, you can see, stunting, underweight, wasting is pretty high. Stunting is about 36%, underweight is about 32%, okay, in India. This are all, again, looking at the India level, this is stunting data. Average stunting in India is about 36%, but look at all the different states. Okay, Meghalaya has more than almost 50% stunting, Meghalaya. And I'm just going to Meghalaya this Sunday because we are signing MOU with the Meghalaya government, and we're going to basically work for next 3 years or so and going to work on stunting. Working on stunting is very difficult because a lot of time this is intergenerational stunting. Okay, but look at other states also, pretty high number of children who are stunted. Here, this is underweight data. Same, look at the advanced state like Gujarat has such underweight. Even over here, you can see that some of those Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, those are stunted, but a lot of other states like Gujarat, Karnataka, those are well-to-do, but even their stunting is pretty high. And similarly, it's the same thing for underweight also. This is wasting. This is your, SAM, MAM, severe acute malnutrition, moderate acute malnutrition, wasting. Okay, wasting is primarily because of acute infections, because the children are not growing, so they get a lot of infections on and off, and when they suddenly lose weight. So in Maharashtra, Gujarat, which are two best economically best states, have highest number of stunted children. Wasted children. Okay, anemia is also very, very significant in India. What has happened in NFHS 6 data? They have stopped checking anemia. Okay, so when you don't check anemia, suddenly anemia vanishes. But please understand that anemia is a huge issue. Any anemia, almost 70% children are anemic. This are all the graphs created by my students. It's all basically bar graphs. All these are created by my students at IIT Bombay. You can see that huge number of children is almost 90%. Gujarat is 80%. The children who are anemic has high risk of cognition problem. Okay, and it's a irreversible damage to the cognition. Another thing which I really, really appreciate, if doctors can do, pediatricians of India, is to push for early initiation of breastfeeding. Okay, early initiation of breastfeeding is very poor under 1 hour of age. Only 40% children are has early initiation of breastfeeding. Although the institution delivery is very, very high, but early initiation is very poor. Okay, and again, as you can see, status of key breastfeeding practices. These are early initiations. Although Meghalaya has a very good early initiation, but still very high amount of stunting. This is about exclusive breastfeeding. Now, what is happening is Initially, mothers are starting breastfeeding, there is no doubt. But because there is a poor milk transfer, obviously there is a pressure from family members, from doctors and other ones. They say that no, baby's not gaining weight, chalo, start top feed, do this, do that. And you can see as babies advancing in age, exclusive breastfeeding rate goes down. Okay. Although as per WHO, breastfeeding rate is much better than other countries in India. But as I'm saying it, it decreases by leaps and bounds as they grow, from birth to 6 months of age. This is exclusive breastfeeding rate in India. Again, another thing which you'll be very surprised if I tell you that areas where they have good amount of exclusive breastfeeding, malnutrition is highest. Okay, areas where they have less amount of breastfeeding, less number of children who are this thing, exclusive breastfeeding, where the exclusive breastfeeding is less, children are not that malnourished. What does that mean? It means that children, when you are pushing the mother to breastfeed, and if you don't teach her the technique, and if you don't monitor the child, you are doing injustice to that mother and the baby. Okay, because if you don't teach a proper technique, the milk transfer doesn't happen, and then they don't put on a lot of weight, and then that basically baby will suffer from stunting and IQ problem. Okay, so this is exactly where we work on. Another problem that we are facing in India is your other feeds rather than breast milk. Okay, so minimum adequate diet is very, very poor in India. Only 12% children are having minimum adequate diet. So if you look at this is minimum acceptable diet, which includes your frequency and dietary diversity. So here these are all children. Okay, so here minimum adequate diet. So at least 5 groups out of 8 food groups, and minimum frequency that is required for at particular age. You can see only 11 to 12% children are getting that minimum adequate diet. No wonder there is so much of stunting. Okay. Stunting starts, of course, from first 3 months, but it continues after 6 months also. So here, what we have done. So Bombay, I'll talk about my journey a little bit, but also now I want to start with health spoken tutorial. So after working in slums for many years, when I started seeing results, so first 6-7 years we were not seeing results. Okay, and this was because I was just following guideline without understanding whether babies were gaining weight or not. What we did after a few years, after 4-5 years, we started using electronic medical record, because again I had come from a developed world where we were using electronic medical record for many years before I came. So I was used to that. Unfortunately, when I started working in slums, those NGOs didn't have that much fund to make or to have those electronic medical records. But eventually to have it. And after having electronic medical, once we started growth monitoring very vigorously, we realized that a lot of these techniques that we were showing mothers, the traditional hold and all, they were only helping us with 500-gram weight gain, which was not enough. So then, fortunately, because of so much of field experience, we learned about cross-cradle technique, which was again taught by one of the small baby. And then we improvised technique. We also came across a lot of this type 1, type 2 nutrient through Dr. Michael Golden. IAP had this consensus statement for guideline for SAM management. So I was one of the author, and I had an opportunity to meet Dr. Michael Golden and listen to him. And he spoke about type 1, type 2 nutrient in malnourished children. And that's when I realized that type 2 nutrients were lacking in our children. Okay, so all that learning came, but the thing is, I approached a lot of doctors. Okay, I approached a lot of doctors, and I told them, look, I have all this learning. I presented data in World Breastfeeding Conference. A lot of the children are coming off malnutrition. Please take it up. But you know how it is. Like sometimes when you're new, when you're young, nobody listens to you. So fortunately, what happened is the IIT Bombay heard about my program in FMCH, and they approached and they said, you come and help us. You help us, you tell us what to do, and we will help you to disseminate this knowledge. Okay, so through IIT Bombay, we created right now I have 105 topics on health, on this maternal, infant, young child nutrition. We have created topics on adult nutrition also, because now I'm also into prevention and remission of metabolic disorders. Okay, and not only this, tutorials are translated into 15 different languages of India, but now it is getting translated into 40 tribal languages. Okay, so Maharashtra government has approached us. They want us to translate into only like tribal languages, which are prevalent only in Maharashtra. Okay, so just a couple of seconds. Each tutorial is about 10 minutes long and different language, but I'll just show you what it looks like.
जरूरी पोषण क्रियाएं। जरूरी पोषण क्रियाओं को ENA के नाम से भी जाना जाता है। ENA महिलाओं और शिशुओं के पोषण स्तर में सुधार लाने के लिए उठाया गया कदम है।
Now this is on
दोनों के
breastfeeding.
शरीर के बीच की दूरी कम करने से शिशु को स्तन तक पहुंचने में कम ताकत लगेगी और स्तन से गहरा जुड़ाव शिशु के लिए आसान हो जाएगा। इसके बाद दूसरी जरूरी बात है शिशु का पूरा शरीर एक सीधी रेखा में होना।
This is on complementary feeding.
इस उम्र में शिशु को आने वाले खाने का गाढ़ापन भी बदलना चाहिए। 7 महीने के शिशु को दिया जाने वाला खाना मसला हुआ या ढेलेदार होना चाहिए।
Okay. Now, so these are all the different topics that we have created. These are all skill-based tutorial. Some of them animated, some of them are live videos also. And we have many recipes. So besides informative and skill-based videos, we wanted to make sure that we created some recipes which were moderate carbohydrates, not too much empty calories, high in protein, high in nutrient density. So that was it was very practical, when we were teaching mothers different recipes. So you can see when complementary feeding, we have recipes for each age group, junk food, all these different whole, crossfit, different, football whole, all that, Then general nutrition, we have worked on all this nutrient. We have created three tutorials on each nutrient. Like for example, protein. So we have one tutorial on importance of protein for 10 minutes. It tells you exactly how much protein we need, which food will have protein, what is complete protein, what is incomplete protein, everything, whatever that you need to know about protein, but in a very simple language. Okay. And then we have created one tutorial in protein-rich veg recipe and one non-veg recipes. Okay. So here that we have created this general nutrition videos. Recipes, again, I mentioned there's a low starch, high protein recipes. And newborn care, some of this important, I felt that, mother need to know what should be the average weight for the baby, what should be the target weight gain, and this tutorials we have also created for healthcare workers. They need to know how to plot growth chart, because unless they do monitoring, they won't know whether baby is going up or down. So here we have created some of those important tutorials like KMC, how to make those KMC bag, how to give first bath, general one. So the focus of this particular HST is that, you want to provide nutrition through life cycle approach. Okay. So it's not that, first 1,000 days is important. After first 1,000 days, your young childhood, your older childhood, your adolescent age is very important. Your pregnancy is very important. Lactating stage is very important. So what we decided, basically, we said we will create tutorials for each phase, even for senior citizens. Why not? Right. And then basically each phase we focused on few points. If we focused on those few points in our training and whatever that we do, we found results. Okay, so these are some of the important points that we focus on in each phase of children's, that person's life. And again, this is the journey that HST went through. That first, the experience was basically from urban NGO, which was basically recommended by Dr. Amdekar, 2007 to 2017, almost 11 years I worked there. Then I also basically replicated this model in rural NGO. See, what the place where I was working in the urban area, there were 7 hospitals. Okay, literally in the vicinity of 3 to 4 kilometers, there were 7 hospitals. So I said, it may be easy if somebody falls sick. It's easy to send the patient to nearby municipal hospital and patient get better, baby get better, and then come back. I wanted to see what if it is that if I work in a rural area where there may not be access to so many hospitals nearby, So we replicated this model and we saw great results over there. And then, right then, 2017, we started creating these tutorials. And then we started doing a lot of studies. So here, Banaskata, we did one study. Nandurbar, we did one study. In fact, it's getting published now. It was a randomized control trial. We also doing one study in Nanded also, because we are research institutes. Whatever we do, we want to make sure that there is a strong evidence. Okay. This is basically this. You can see was a clinic where I had started working. We had a social worker, we had nutritionist, we had a doctor, we had nurse, and we would bring all these mothers in the area in the slums of Dhobi. They would bring their small children, and that's how we learned. It was very systematically. We would let. Of course, we didn't have space, but this was the beginning of the journey. And my focus was very much anthropometric measurement, because what I realized that despite training these healthcare workers multiple times, they were still making a lot of mistakes. So that was, we created protocol how to measure height and length. We also talked about cross-cradle hold, and here we improvised. Now we have 45 points of counseling. Growth chart was very important. We did a lot of cooking demos for mothers and babies, because many times we tell them something to give, but when they go home they would have all these excuses. No, my baby won't eat, baby will choke, this will happen, that will happen, all that. So what we would do is basically we would tell them to bring whatever food that they had, and we would create some healthy recipes, because change is very difficult in slums. They also struggle with a lot of other issues. Another thing which we also came across is this powders. So when we started making, and this I learned from Dr. Michael Golden. He's a malnutrition guru, and he mentioned about type 2 nutrients. So I discussed with my nutritionist and I said, okay, let's create those powders, which can be made by mothers at home, and especially for vegetarian babies, because they don't get very good excellent quality protein, from complementary foods. So here what we did, or drumstick leaves or seeds, and peanuts, and then some germinated beans, and this powder has really made a lot of difference. I did a lot of home visit, because again my training was in US, so I had no clue how children would grow in their home environment. So that I learned a lot in home visits. We created a health record, electronic health record, which was all, totally, because 3 months a year I used to work in US. So while I was in US, I knew exactly each baby, how they were doing, what was happening in their home. It was all cloud based. Okay. Another thing is ECD. Now, working in US, uh, after growth and development, they really focused on more like early child development. Okay. So when I came back to India, I felt that was lacking. So we kind of got space in this temple, and all these babies who were growing very beautifully, we started basically, teaching mothers how to play with the children, how to, all that other things that we taught. And of course, this one is the cross-cradle technique. So if doctors in India can learn this technique, and teach mothers, half of your malnutrition will vanish in just next 6 months. Here was the data. What I wanted to do, I wanted to look at data retrospectively and see that if children came to us before 2 months of age, how would they fare a year later? Okay. So of course, as I mentioned to you, that first few years we were not getting good results, but as we started improvising our learning and knowledge, we started, basically we took all the children who came from 2013 to 2016. Okay, all the children. And what we found, that just by teaching mother proper technique of breastfeeding and complementary feeding, there was a reduction of severe acute malnutrition by 7% just in 1 year. Okay, these are all under, basically all your poor children from Dobighat. You can see reduction of SUW, reduction of stunting also, so all that. And then some of these children, they came up to 2 years of age, because they were all my population. So they would come for some time and they would go back, but when they come to for 2 years of age, there was still more reduction in stunting and severe wasting, severe underweight. One thing which got worse was wasting. So a lot of this severe wasting was becoming wasted, in a sense they were coming into moderate wasting. But another thing what I noticed is a lot of the children are becoming very tall. So when they were becoming tall, their height was catching up faster than the weight. Okay, so but the children were not falling sick, so that was one good thing. It was just becoming tall and lean. And then there was this one study we did in Banaskantha with Gujarat government, and as you can see, what we did at last month pregnancy, we took 300 mothers in intervention group and 300 mothers in standard care group. And in intervention care, we taught mothers this our technique of breastfeeding. Okay, and we basically monitored these babies who were born to them every week till 3 months of age in both the groups. And at the end of 3 months, what we found, the children who were breastfed using our technique had 5% malnutrition, underweight, and children who were fed traditional whole had 16%. So almost 3 times more underweight. We also looked at how these babies were faring in terms of weight gain. So as you can see, that many babies were gaining more than 30 grams in intervention group. Okay, and basically our goal is that every child for at least first 3 months should gain minimum 30 grams, and our children were gaining 30 to 40 grams, almost 67-70% of the babies. And after that, we started working in Nandurbar. So as you know, Nandurbar is one of the worst, district in India after West Singhu in Jharkhand. And you can see stunting is 45.8%. And district collector wrote letter to IIT Bombay that we have to go there and help them. So it was not a request, it was like an order from district collector. So we decided to go there, and immediately we trained 1,000 people, which was not sustainable. Training 1,000 people is not sustainable, but we went because they called us. And after they got trained in my vessel, I'll talk about it, how we trained. There was a reduction in SAM by 30% in just 1 year. Just 1 year, a lot of this acutely malnourished children came out of malnutrition, and MAM children also came out. Nashik and Washim, after that, we started working in Nashik, and Washim is another aspirational district. See, what we did, we basically trained, there was a selection pedagogy that we had created at IIT Bombay, and we selected 250 healthcare workers in Nashik and 250 healthcare workers in Washim. And this 250 healthcare, so total of 500 healthcare workers had to go through adoption process of 10 mother-baby diet. Okay, so what I wanted to show is that if they basically took ANC mothers in 7 months of pregnancy and taught mothers how to increase protein in the diet, home-rich food, okay, home protein-rich, home-cooked food, what was the birth weight? And this is the birth weight that we found is basically almost like about 2.7 kg bachu. Almost 70% children were born, about 70 to almost 80% children were born, about 2.7, which is about average. So as a result, again, we wanted to see when they adopted babies under, say, when they were small, say newborn babies, what was the effect of breastfeeding technique on these babies after 3 months of age. So here you can see there were 309 babies that they had adopted totally. So at the time of birth, they were 28.5% underweight, but just in 3 months, the underweight reduced to 9.4. So you can see reduction in both MVW, HCW just in a matter of 3 months. Okay, this was some of these babies they had adopted at a little bit older age, because I wanted to teach them complementary feeding stage also. So in complementary feeding stage, when they adopted babies, so total about 137 babies that they had adopted, you can see that, the time of adoption at around 5.5 months of age, children were 23% underweight. And just in 3 months, by teaching mother proper complementary feeding practices, you can see reduction in underweight, MVW, SCW. I wanted to look at height, okay, because length, sorry, under 2 years, and wanted to see that whether children can come out of this stunting, okay, reversal of stunting hota hai ki nahi. So again, you can see that, look at the reduction in stunting in 3 months from 25% to 10%. And some of these babies were growing so tall, and I was just so excited because right now, right now our average height of a 19-year-old woman is 5 feet. Okay, in India, and the average height of a man 19-year-old is 5'4". So we have a very stunted population already. Okay, so if you don't bring your second or new generation out of stunting, your future generation will be lower than what they are right now. Okay, this is wasting data also. So as you can see, there is a tremendous improvement in just a matter of 3 months. And here we are working in other different districts of Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh. Uttar Pradesh also, they have taken up our ICDS, they have created ICDS book where they have taken all our IC material. Gujarat MCH card also has, this is all our recommendation. This is ICDS book by UP government. You can see that, everything is, they have taken ours. Right now, I'm basically working with MP state. There are 7 districts that we are starting in the first phase. After that, they will take it up on the whole of Madhya Pradesh. And this was a meeting that we had. They had called all important, people from 7 districts, and this was the beginning of our program. What we told them that we'll be focusing on few different points. One is cross-skill technique. We'll be focusing on weight gain is equal to milk transfer. And that means a target weight gain. Protein calculation would be a very important part of teaching healthcare workers, and homemade powders. WHO growth chart was very important for us. So we told them that we will be training them on plotting of WHO percentile growth chart, and correct some perception, right? The perception, like the misconception, or it's a perception that baby should be 500, gain 500 grams. It's a wrong perception, okay? And we also mentioned that birth weight is 2.5 kg is not normal, because everybody feels that 2.5 kg ho gaya, matlab apna kaam ho gaya, And of course, breast crawl skill, that's really important. And the implementation flow, I will just go quickly. And how we do is that, we basically give 1 month for district or state to plan. We need a lot of data from them, okay? Because we use very sophisticated application, and we give them online content for everybody to watch in a group setting, and then we take an online test, okay? And after we take online test, we send another 4 to 6 hours of content, which they again watch online, and after that we take a screening test. After screening test, what we do, we select 250 best people, okay? Now those 250 best people, we go and train them face to face, okay, on all workshop. It's all skill based. And after that, what they have to do is they have to practice on an application which we have created at IIT Bombay, and then they adopt 10 mother baby diet, okay? And then this 10 mother baby diet, then they have to follow for 3 months, at least 3 months. And then after 3 months, we take their another exam, which is 100-mark exam, which 30-hour module. And then basically we select 50 best people. We may select more also, we may select less also, depending how they've done, but they have to follow certain protocol. So we have created protocol at IIT Bombay. That's what they have to do. And this is about, when they adopt each phase, what all things that they have to do. Okay, so this is all basically exactly what action plan they have to do. Some of the photographs I'm going to show, and I'm almost done now. So here, they are watching HST, Health Spoken Tutorial. They are watching in a small group, all these healthcare workers, different, health department, ICDS department, okay? And then they're also taking exams. So they take exams, and they basically, we take online exams. And then here we do face-to-face training. So whoever gets selected, we create like a batch of 30 to 40 people. And then we create, in those face-to-face training, we train them on WHO growth chart also. They also learn on mother baby diet, because it's very important. It's not just online or workshop. They have to go and show us how baby should be breastfed, in any different situation. And we have created all these nutrition charts also, which are all available. If you need, I will definitely share the link with you. But this all IC kit that we have created. Okay. Then we also do what we do with 250 people. We created like a WhatsApp group, latching group. Okay, because one thing is they say that acha but we want to see exactly how babies latch, because this is again the crux. If the latch is good, and if they know of 45 points, they children, they do very, very well. And then we expect few things from administration, because sitting at IIT Bombay, we can't do much. We can just guide them what to do, right? But here in MP, we are teaching 35,000 people, healthcare workers, 35,000, right? So we need some expectation. We have some expectation from government, right? So here, this was expectation from Nashik administration, how they helped. We were very strict on timeline. They had assigned 2 people to help us, with all the communication, everything. And then all that. What happened with Nashik after our training? IMR went down from 9 to 7, literally in 1 year, 9 to 7, and they all say that it's all because of people learn proper breastfeeding technique, people learn breast crawl, complementary feeding, and that helped a lot. 2 things which also happened over there. what CEO madam did over there, she asked all the institution which delivery was happening. They said baby will not be discharged unless the latch score is 90%. So that was her decision. The child cannot go home if there is no proper latching. So we created latch score also for her. She also made sure that every round, staff nurse will do breastfeeding rounds. Breastfeeding fairy it is called. Okay, that means how, they take vitals of pregnant or lactating mothers. They had to now check 35 points, okay, that if mother is doing correctly or not in every rounds, in every shift, I would say. Okay, so here these are some of the images of, how they're watching our HST tutorial. Here's my live lecture. Okay, and they're taking down, all these healthcare workers take down the notes, because they know that after watching this tutorial, like 3 hours, they'll be given exams. Okay, so here they are all basically, here they're taking exams, and this are all taken online on phone. So not only we are giving them knowledge on MIYC, but we also basically make them understand about the digital literacy, right? So here, these are some of the uh, photographs that I want to share. How they, after watching tutorial, they already started making these powders. I didn't even have to go and teach them. They just looked at the tutorials and they started making it. Okay. So again, so 7 district here, this was an initiation visit, and this was in Chhatarpur, very close to Khajuraho. Okay. And once they get initiation, then they start watching tutorials. Some of the live lectures, some of the tutorials in small setting, big setting, so on, what facilities they have. This is Vidisha. Some of them watch in the Gram Panchayat office. This is Nashik team that we selected, 50 mentors. Actually, we selected 90 over there because people were excellent over there. They gave such amazing result. Nashik babies, which I showed some data. Look at this newborn baby, 4.3 kg, normal delivery. This is the ANM. This is 3-month-old baby. Okay, look at the length of this child. Okay, and this is 9 months. Look at the development. Just in 3 months, these are the results of just 3 months. This is 7-week baby, 6.4 kg. Look at the length of this child. This is 6-month-old baby, 9.42 kg. 6 months old, 10.2. These children are tall and all breastfed. 6 months old baby, 10 kg. 2.2 kilo baby. This is A&M. She had taken part in our training program. And look at the 3 months, 6 kg, only on breast milk. Okay, 2.5 kg to 9 month, 9.7 kg. This is again same child at 6 months. Look at the weight gain. I'll just again go through it. This is by CHO, Community Health Officer. This are both of them are low birth weight babies, 1.7, 1.3 kg. And look at the weight, subsequent weight. This baby was born 2.6 kg on mother's milk and complementary feeding. 6 months old. Only by mother's milk, 6 months, 92 kg. Okay. Good thing about these babies who grow very fast on mother's milk, they have good height, they have good IQ, and they get help by, they have prevention of, they have low risk of metabolic syndrome. Mother's milk it's absolutely for the baby. So you can see all these babies who are growing on mother's milk, they are just so alert, active, just so healthy. And I'm used to seeing such babies in US. Actually, but unfortunately in US, all these babies are not mothers, formula milk. And I didn't want formula milk in India at all. So I really had to work really hard to understand the breastfeeding aspect because I had not learned in US at all. This is again, a baby was born 2 kg, and this is 7.5 month baby. Look at the developmental, So here's some of the photographs. Now I want to show some of, again, before, after, This is Melghat babies. So we had done training over there, and you can see just after training in 3-4 months, you can start seeing the results. This are Nandurbar babies. We have data of all that. Government keeps. So And this is Palghar. This is Palghar, Vikramgarh. Palghar was the first place where I did training. So I'm very, very thankful to Palghar. Talasari was the first place where I did training outside my NGOs, And you can see that even if mothers malnourished, if mothers know how to breastfeed, babies are absolutely healthy. So like many times we say now that mother is impoverished or very, very, malnourished. It doesn't matter really. And this, I'd worked in the Rampur, Valsad tribal areas. You can see before, after, how children, they grow so beautifully. My goal is to have good weight gain, birth, then will thrive, you know. But as you can see, this is one of the growth chart, how like just by teaching proper technique of breastfeeding, just in 4 weeks, you can see child has gone from almost less than 58 percentile to almost 97 percentile. So this is what our work is. So thank you so much. I'm going to stop. And if anybody has any question, you can.
That is so amazing, madam. That is so amazing. And I'm happy that you have started from Palghar, our own district.
Yes, Talasari. And I did in Vikramgarh also. I just had a meeting with Palghar team CEO. In fact, L&T was planning to fund the whole project, but CEO got transferred. So that program got stalled. But if somebody else will come, if they come back to us, we will be more than happy to make, because our goal is to make Palghar also malnutrition free, So let's see how it goes.
Let's hope that we will have no stunted, no wasted, and no malnourished babies all over the world.
Yeah,
And,
let's started with Palghar.
yes, starting with Palghar. Thank you so much.
Excellent
Over to
work,
you,
madam.
Doctor.
Hats off to you. Very nice, inspiring.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
We would
Is
like
there any question?
There are many
Anybody have
questions in our mind, madam, but the curiosity has raised about type 1 and type 2 nutrients, what you are talking about. And also, we would like
Yeah.
to know about the breastfeeding theory. What are the points you are noted? And the LAT score, what is something which is new for all of us?
Yes. So maybe next time, I can go more detail into technicality. But one thing I wanted to mention, okay, we have a course at IIT Bombay. It's called NPTEL. Okay. Now, this NPTEL course is basically given by IIT Bombay professors, that whatever sessions that we take at IIT Bombay. So if anybody would like to join this course, it's completely free. Once you complete it, and if you want to take IIT Bombay certificate, you have to give exam. An examination fee is like minimal some 1,000 rupees, but you will get IIT Bombay certificate as a MIYCF counselor. Okay. And in that, it's a 12-week program. It's online, only thing is that you have to take assessment every week, and the final exam is in the examination hall. But Dr. Asha Benakappa, I don't know if you know Dr. Asha Benakappa. She
Yes,
has
we know.
taken this course 3 times. Imagine, she's a breastfeeding expert in the whole wide world, and she took it 3 times, and she says, I'm still not getting 100 out of 100. I want to take a 4th time, So thing is, I think, once you take this course, you will learn the technicality aspect a lot. And then you will, once you implement in your practice, you will see like how children grow. And this is all the learning which has come from working in slums. This I had not learned when I was doing pediatric, or I didn't learn an MD program, residency, and I did not learn all this stuff. This all came thanks to Dr. Amdekar, and he said, go to slum, learn. So it's all learning which came from the field. And also I feel that I'm just lucky because IIT Bombay kind of approach, right? Because to get into IIT Bombay is so impossible, but they offered me almost actually full-time position. They said that, just come and teach. But I said, I don't want to teach. If I take full-time position, I will not be able to work in state and district level, right? Because those are big projects. So I said that I can be as the adjunct professor, but my goal is not to be 100% at IIT. My goal is to be in tribal areas, rural areas, create these master trainers. So that way, all that knowledge can be passed on. So that's what it is.
Please share the link of NPTEL course for all of our viewers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Ma'am, also
I
can
am
you
really
please share
happy.
the recipes and the powder compositions which you have mentioned,
Yes.
which were
Yes. I'll share the
Yes.
tutorial. So, one more thing what you can
Yes,
do,
ma'am.
you can, YouTube mein, you can go to Health Spoken Tutorial, IIT Bombay, and you can just
Okay.
basically subscribe to. And on that, you have all the 105 tutorials in all the languages. So if you want to pass it on to any mother, say any like any language, you can pass it on to her also.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
That is awesome. And I am really happy to tell you that Dr. Hemant Joshi and Archana Joshi from our own Palghar district are doing all this since so many years. And we will be happy to collaborate with you all.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. If you don't mind, if there are no questions, like I have another session. So
No issues, madam. No
yeah?
problem.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr.
Thank you so
Indrajit,
much.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for the talk and an amazing work which you are doing, ma'am. We are really enlightened with your work. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your talk.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Inderjit?
Yes,
We
ma'am.
would like to go to another session now, which is also very important, and it's a very rare thing to discuss on online platform. Dr. Inderjit will introduce the speakers.
Okay, the next topic is on conduct disorders in children, kleptomania. This is in a team. There's a team of doctors who are diagnosed and managed this care. I would like to introduce them. Is it Dr. Lekha Tiwari? She is MD Pediatrics from Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, Karad, and also a fellow in pediatric neurology and epilepsy at Sion Hospital. She has an experience of working for 8 years. She has worked at Rainbow Children Hospital, Bangalore, as a consultant pediatric neurologist, also at LH Hiranandani Hospital and Sir H.N. Reliance Hospital. Presently, she is working at New Horizons Child Development Center since a year as a neurodevelopmental pediatrician. Then we have Dr. Dimple Lokeshwar, MBBS, from Loni, and she is DCH from BPT Hospital, Mumbai. She is working at Kashyap Clinic as a consultant pediatrician and at New Horizon Child Developmental Center as a development pediatrician since 1 year. Again, we have Dr. Madhur Nagrale, who is MBBS DCH from Medical College at Pimpri. And he is working at Manikal Children Hospital as a pediatrician since 5 years and currently working with New Horizon Child Developmental Center. So over to the speaker.
We welcome you all the team from New Horizon Child Developmental Center, which is now running at Vasai Vikas Hospital, Dr. Anjali Gokarna's hospital, and it's run by none other than our dynamic Dr. Samil Dalwai sir. Welcome the team of New Horizon Child Developmental Center. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
Yes,
and can you see the screen?
Yeah, we could.
yes.
Okay. So again, a good evening and welcome to everyone. Thank you to Maha IAP and Women's Committee and IAP Palghar for giving us this opportunity to be here today. Just a minute.
This was the case actually from Vasai area only, and how they dealt with this case was very interesting. Yeah, Dr. Madhu.
Yeah. So I'll just start by telling. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, madam.
Yes, ma'am. So I'll just begin by introducing. We all know Dr. Dalwai. He is the founder of New Horizons. Dr. Dalwai started with the idea to make a difference with his belief that every child can do better. As he himself says, he has learned from every child and decoded the best intervention, modality, and methodology of working with neurodevelopmental disorders by inventing the New Horizons Developmental Program. This program has been devised based on the belief that every child can do better step by step, month by month, by defining and outlining each step and focusing on the outcome. Our vision is to make the life of every child and family happier by consistently innovating and providing the best child development services. And our mission is from label to enable. So I'm just wanted to tell you the brief way we have this started with it in New Horizons. It started in 2003 with our first center in Goregaon East. And presently we have 6 centers all across. In 2020, we started with our parent coaching program during COVID. And now we are happy to announce our latest center in Vasai, which we have just started. I'd like to introduce with me the other fellow developmental pediatricians with me, Dr. Madhur and Dr. Lekha Tiwari. And Dr. Madhur and Dr. Lekha Tiwari will be conducting OPDs and they come to the Vasai Center. I'll start with our case. We had this child, 10-year, 9-month girl who came to our OPD. Birth history, she was full-term normal delivery. Baby had cried immediately at birth. Her birth weight 3.5 kg. Developmental history, all her gross motor milestones were age appropriate, fine motor milestones were age appropriate. Social and communication, she achieved everything at the correct age. Family history, she was born of a non-consanguineous marriage. She has 4 siblings, her elder sisters 17, 16 and 14 years of age and had a younger sister 8 years old. No significant medical history. She was just hospitalized once at 6 months age for gastroenteritis. There is no history of seizures. She goes to Madi High School and presently the child is studying in 5th standard. The child is interactive. She can perform all her activities of daily living independently. She needs reminders from her mother to do them. Sleep history, there are no afternoon naps. On school days, she sleeps for 6 hours. On weekends, she sleeps for 11 hours. Her screen time is around 3 to 4 hours on the mobile. So the mother came to us with her academic concerns. This child was not in any play school or nursery prior to this. She was directly enrolled at 5 years of age in 1st standard. And since then, she has had difficulty with reading and writing. Presently also, her oral work is better than her written. She makes spelling mistakes. She tends to write mirror images. Her notebooks are incomplete. She does not pay attention in the classroom. However, she can focus for an art and craft class. And steadily through the years, there's been a declining academic performance. The other main issue for which the parents approached us was her behavioral concerns. She back answers her parents. She does not like to be given any work and she will get very rude if she is told something or given any work by her parents. She shows destructive behavior. On her own, she has done things like she will add water into dry masala containers. When painting, she purposefully will mess up her clothes. She tears her books, destroys her stationery items. Around 1 to 2 years, she has developed this habit of stealing and lying. Repeatedly, the parents have found that she steals money either from her mother's purse or her father's wallet. On occasion, she has once stolen a neighbor's bicycle, taken it to another adjoining compound of another building, and completely destroyed it. When caught or questioned, she lies. She has a tendency to leave her house, sit in a bus, and go away for hours without informing anyone. She does not share good relations with her own sisters. The neighbors are also tired of this behavior of hers. She has good relations only with younger children of 3 to 5 years age group, but not with her own peers. In school, she does get targeted at times, but if anyone reprimands her, she laughs it off. Now, in New Horizons, we do not believe in labeling a child. Yes, this child does steal money from her parents and she has taken other people's things, but we do not label everything as kleptomania. Today, a 2-year-old child going into a store and picking up a shiny object, one will not even think that the child is stealing. Or if a hungry child grabs some money, but for a purpose of buying food, you will not label this child as kleptomania. So my colleague, Dr. Madhur, will now tell what kleptomania actually means. This above history indicates a conduct disorder or probably a maladaptive behavior, which is sometimes seen in adolescent children. Most of these maladaptive behaviors come with an underlying cause. So first we did an informal evaluation to rule out any learning disability in this child. This is just a brief summary of the evaluation which we carried out. She was able to read 4 or 5 letter words, but she made errors when reading. She showed difficulty in spelling 4-letter words. She tried to write factual answers, but her answers were incorrect. She has showed difficulty with answering interpretive questions. She was able to write 5 lines on a given topic, but she made errors in sentence constructions and subject-verb agreement, tense, and prepositions. And she was able to perform multiplication, but with double-digit multiply, but difficulty in division and in solving word problems. Dr. Lekha later will talk about conduct disorder and how we have approached this child. I'll hand it over to Dr. Madhur.
Thank you, Dr. Dimple, and thank you, IIP Palghar, IIP Maha IIP Women's Wing, for allowing me to present on kleptomania. IIP Palghar म्हणजे मोस्ट ऑफ ऑडियन्स हा मराठी आहे असं गृहीत धरून मी एक पुढची स्लाइड दाखवू इच्छितो. आपल्यापैकी बहुतेकांनी हा सिनेमा बघितलेला असेल, ज्याचं नाव कोणी सांगू शकेल का मला? हॅलो. दे धक्का या प्रसिद्ध क्लासिक मराठी सिनेमातला हे कॅरेक्टर आहे. सिद्धार्थ जाधव या ऍक्टरनी धनाजीचं कॅरेक्टर प्ले केलं आहे, जो कुठल्या पण वस्तू चोरतो. म्हणजे ते पोलीस स्टेशन मध्ये इन्स्पेक्टरची गन असू देत किंवा पारावरच्या हनुमानाची गदा जी दगडाची आहे ती असू दे, ते तो चोरतो. आणि तिथे मला वाटतं पहिल्यांदा सामान्य जनतेला कळलं की क्लेप्टोमॅनिया म्हणजे काय. ठीक आहे, तर थोडस लाइटर वेन मध्ये हे मी बोललो, आपलं थोडस एन्झायटी कमी करायसाठी आणि रिलॅक्स करायसाठी. नाऊ in medical terms, I will try to throw more light on kleptomania. So, how do we define kleptomania? A mental health condition where a person feels an overpowering, irresistible urge to steal things. This is the definition of kleptomania. Individual knows that stealing is wrong and could get them into trouble, but still they can't stop themselves from stealing things. They don't steal because of a lack of willpower or a self-control or a character flaw, but instead, this is a medical condition where a person doesn't have the ability to resist the impulse to steal. It's common for people with kleptomania to feel guilt, shame, or stress about stealing, and many of them try to compensate this stealing by returning the items which they have stolen, donating them to a charity, or going back to the place from where they have stolen the item and paying for the same. So, what's the prevalence of kleptomania? So, I can discuss this in following subparts. In general population, it is estimated that prevalence of kleptomania ranges from 0.3 to 0.6%. Gender distribution wise, it appears that it is prevalent more among females, although we don't have exact ratios which vary across the studies. It is found that it typically begins in the late adolescence or early adulthood, but can manifest at any age. Comorbidity is frequently co-occurs with other psychiatric disorders such as mood disorders, anxiety disorders, and substance use disorders. More commonly, it is diagnosed in clinical settings, for example, outpatient psychiatric OPDs compared to community-based surveys. And the very much limitation is many individuals may not seek treatment due to the shame, guilt, or fear of legal consequences, potentially which may lead them to underestimation and stigma. So prevalence is not exact data we have available. Now coming to the etiology, what can be the etiology of kleptomania? Firstly, biological factors play an important role. Genetic predisposition, neurotransmitter imbalance like serotonin, dopamine, opioids. Psychological factors like impulse control disorders, anxiety, mood disorders, potential triggers like stress or trauma is very important in etiology. Behavioral reinforcement, like stealing behavior initially relieves tension or anxiety, and then it results into reinforcing the compulsive cycle of stealing things. Neurobiological factors do play important role. Differences in brain activity related to impulse control and decision making is there important playing part. And environmental factors like childhood experiences, how is your upbringing, exposure to stealing behaviors may contribute in the etiology most. So in a diagnostic and statistical manual of psychiatric disorder, which is the Bible of psychiatric illness or disorders, the classification of kleptomania is it comes under an impulse control disorder. It is characterized by recurrent failure to resist impulses to steal items that are not needed for personal use or monetary value. The act of stealing is typically done impulsively without premeditation or the intention to profit from the theft. This is the part from actual DSM-5. It reads, recurrent failure to resist impulses to steal objects that are not needed for personal use or for their monetary value. Increasing sense of tension immediately before committing the theft. Pleasure, gratification, or relief at the time of committing the theft. The stealing is not committed to express anger or vengeance and is not in response to delusion or hallucination. The stealing is not better accounted for by conduct disorder, a manic episode, or antisocial personality disorder. Now, we will face the question how to distinguish kleptomania from other conduct disorders. So, I'm trying to explain the distinguishing features of kleptomania, how we differentiate ordinary theft from kleptomania. So, unlike ordinary theft, kleptomania is not motivated by anger, revenge, or an attempt to deceive someone. Individuals often experience a sense of tension or arousal before committing the theft, followed by relief or gratification afterwards. Not to be confused with the conduct disorders, which involves deliberate rule-breaking behaviors. Contrast with antisocial personality disorder, where theft is driven by personal gain or disregard for others' right. Now, this table, in this table, I have tried to differentiate kleptomania from conduct disorder and antisocial personality disorder. So, conduct disorder, the characteristic features are persistent pattern of behavior violating rights of others or societal norms. It includes aggression, destruction of property, deceitfulness, and theft. And the motivation behind conduct disorder is purposeful and planned, and it is often driven by anger, retaliation, or gaining personal profit. Now, coming to antisocial personality disorder, it is characterized by persistent disregard for and violation of rights of others. The feature includes deceitfulness, impulsivity, aggression, and irresponsibility. And it is motivated by theft for personal gain and lack of remorse for action. Now, in kleptomania, the characteristic is recurrent failure to resist impulses to steal items not needed for personal use or monetary gain, and a tension or arousal before stealing is there, which is followed by relief or gratification after stealing the item. Motivating factor is driven by impulse or urge, not motivated by personal gain or anger or revenge, and it often experience guilt or shame after stealing. So I hope this table can help us differentiate kleptomania from antisocial personality disorder and conduct disorder. Now, after discussing the etiology, the characteristic feature, the diagnosis, let's discuss the treatment modality or management part. So there are various modes or approaches to tackle kleptomania. Very first is psychotherapy, which will include cognitive behavior therapy, which is abbreviated as CBT, to modify distorted thoughts and behaviors, plus behavioral therapy techniques for reduction of the urge to steal. Pharmacotherapy do help. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, SSRI, for impulsivity, and mood stabilizers. Or sometimes anti-epileptic drugs are used if SSRI are ineffective. Support groups and counseling. Support group provides encouragement and understanding, while individual counseling offers personalized coping strategies. Lifestyle changes and stress management. Stress reduction techniques like meditation, yoga, and healthy lifestyles like exercise, adequate sleep, proper nutrition will help to improve. Legal and financial measures. These are also important part. Legal counseling for managing legal consequences and financial management to prevent financial difficulties. Family education and support plays an important role. Education of the family of kleptomanic person is very important. Also, family therapy to enhance the support and communication within the family, intra-family, is an important. Follow-up and monitoring plays a crucial role. Regular follow-up appointments to monitor progress and adjust treatment with ongoing monitoring for stealing behaviors and triggers is important. Treatment for kleptomania should be tailored to individual specific need. It is very important because every kleptomania can't be managed with the same or monotonous plan. It will require a multidisciplinary approach involving psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, and other healthcare professionals. The goal is to help individuals manage their impulses to steal, reduce their stealing behaviors, and improve their overall quality of life. And this ends my explanation of kleptomania. Thank you. Now, I will hand over this dais to Dr. Lekha Tiwari Mishra to discuss with you about conduct disorder. Over to you, Dr. Lekha. Thank you.
Next slide.
Enter them. Enter. Alright. Click on right click.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Lekha Tiwari. So I'm a neurodevelopmental pediatrician working at New Horizons Child Development Center since past 1.5 years. So I would like to first and foremost thank all the people here to give me a chance to come forward and discuss about a case first, as Dr. Dimple has discussed, about the case which we have had recently at our center. And then it's been 3 months since the child is with us, and we have started to work with this child and the parent as well, because it's not only the child is one who is having a problem, but it's also the parents. The way they handle the child is something which decides the prognosis of this problem. So now coming what we have done till date with this child is we have done a learning disorder evaluation, and which showed that she does has difficulties in reading, writing. So we have started working on that segment of hers, trying to understand what all concerns she has. And along with that, counseling sessions, which we have started with the child, with the parents, we are trying to build a rapport with the child, in detail, to find out what are, something which triggers her, and then how to handle that. So there has been a slow improvement. The child has developed a rapport with us, and she's opening about her concerns, opening up, and we are working with the family together so that the family can support her. So this is how it's going. So when Dr. Dimple discussed the case, and then Dr. Madhu took up kleptomania. So generally, because we do not label any child, but then yes, somewhere we suspect that she has a conduct disorder. So conduct disorder is nothing but a child behavior that's disruptive. So a 8-year-old child having an impulsive behavior may not be a conduct disorder, but it could be developmentally normative behavior, because there is stubbornness in the first in the toddler phase. Then there is kind of a little bit of impulse when the child is somewhere around 6 to 9 years of old. So they are not kind of conduct disorders. So we need to know what exactly it is. So conduct disorder is basically a set of behaviors which we see in a child or adolescent that builds up over time. So it is mainly characterized by the child being very aggressive, and also violates rights, his age appropriate rights. And it's not a single event that happens or a single episode of aggression, but it has to be very repetitive and persistent. It has to be a persistent pattern of behavior over a specified period of time. Only then we can suspect that the child has a conduct disorder. So generally, the behavioral categories which are seen in these kids are they have a lot of physical aggression, and they kind of harm people. Also, sometimes can harm non-living things, and they can harm animals also. And then they also destroy their own property. They can be destructive, and they can also destroy others' properties. Then the third thing which we see generally, the behavioral category, is theft or acts of deceit. And then last is the violation of age appropriate rules. So basically, if the child has to sit in school, that's the rule of the school, but that is very much age appropriate thing. But then the child will not follow that rule. The child will just walk out, go anywhere without permission, may walk out of the classroom. And this is again a kind of a frequent violation of his age appropriate rule. So generally, categories are seen under these 4 things in kids with conduct disorder. They are very commonly associated with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, learning disorders, depression, or other psychosocial factors. So there is probably a history of a childhood maltreatment or a harsh parenting, a family discord, lack of parental supervision, lack of social competence, a low socioeconomic level. So multiple factors which may be associated with conduct disorder. At the same time, ADHD or kind of oppositional defined disorders are not conduct disorders. They are a different set of developmental disorders.
So we generally have 3 types based on the age of onset. Childhood onset is there are a set of symptoms which I will be discussing further. So there is at least one symptom which has emerged repeatedly. So there is a pattern in it which has happened before 10 years of age. So if the same behavior has been seen multiple times before 10 years of age, which falls under the 4 behavioral things which I said, either theft or destruction or damage, physical damage, or kind of violation of rules, we could consider it as a childhood onset. It's an adolescent onset if there were no persistent symptoms till 10 years of age. But then when we ask a history, there were events on and off, but not very persistent. But over a period of time, they have now, after 10 years of age, become persistent symptoms. So then we say adolescent onset. Then we have an unspecified onset where probably the parents also do not know when exactly it started. Now, the diagnostic criteria, we follow the standard DSM-5. So they have listed down 15 symptoms. So out of these 15, if we want to kind of diagnose a conduct disorder, there has to be at least 3 symptoms. And it has to be present for past 1 year. So 3 symptoms for past 1 year. And at least of those 3, one should have been in the past 6 months. It has to be consistent in the past 6 months. So that is when we can diagnose the child as an conduct disorder based on the DSM-5. So I've just listed down, made it easy, the 15 criteria. So first falls under aggression to people or animals. So one, he either bullies, threatens, or intimidates others. Then there can be physical fights, can use weapons like brick, knife, bat that can potentially harm other people. He can be physically cruel to people, slapping, pinching, or any other kind of physical cruelty. They can be cruel to animals. So that is also seen. And they can kind of steal from a person, maybe purse snatching or robbery. And forcing someone into a sexual activity is also a kind of one of the symptoms. And then destruction of property, the second thing in which we see they can kind of deliberately engage in fire setting, causing damage to their own property or to others, or they can destroy, break, or kind of damage others' properties or their own property. Then the other symptom is they can theft or deceitfulness. They can break into anyone's house, car, and steal things. They can kind of con others, and they can also steal items of non-trivial value. They are not very expensive, but without someone looking at them. So like, forging someone's sign or shoplifting, buying picking up a chocolate while going to a shop without the person looking at him. And then the fourth point, serious violation of rules. So when we know that our parents do not allow us to stay late outside in the night, that's at least before 13 to 14 years of age, still the child is staying out at night despite his parents prohibiting him. So that beginning somewhere around 13 years of age. Or he runs away from his house without informing anyone. At least twice these episodes have happened where the child has just left home and not traceable. And then there is a truancy from school. The child often leaves the school, just wanders around, goes out of the school campus, does not inform anyone. That also generally which has happened before 13 years of age. So these are the 15 symptoms which have been listed down by DSM, where if the child meets 3 of these symptoms, and these have happened in the past 1 year, with at least one symptom happening in the past 6 months. So if these criteria fit into if the child fits into any of these criteria, we can suspect a conduct disorder. Now coming to probable causes, because that is how we are going to work further. We need to look if there are any parental factors, then there could be some genetic factors, socio-cultural factors, psychological factors. We also do have neurobiological, neurologic factors, and then child abuse and maltreatment is one major thing which we always have to try to find out what exactly has happened in the past. So if the child is 10 years old, we need to know from the beginning how has the parenting been, how has the child been from beginning. So most common is a harsh and punitive parenting where there is severe physical aggression, verbal aggression by the parents towards the child, lot of nagging to the child, or if there are some chaotic home conditions, or child abuse, negligence, alcohol dependence in the parents, or substance abuse in parents. There is poor emotional regulation. So generally, these are most commonly seen things. When we take a history, we come to know that the child has faced lots of aggression from the parents, or there is some kind of dysfunctional family conditions seen, or there has been a lot of nagging comparison with other kids, being nagging for not being able to study, or being constantly nagged for not being at par with other kids around. So this has built up over a time for the child to behave like this. Though it's very common in many of the household, but not all kids tend to develop conduct disorder. It is generally other factors also which play a role. So they may have a poor emotional regulation. They were not able to regulate all these things, and that's how they have come up with these kind of behaviors. Sometimes even the neuroimaging studies in these kids have shown that these affected kids, they have a decreased gray matter in the limbic brain structure. So limbic brain is basically that which deals with emotions, handling of emotions, regulation of emotions, bilateral insula and left amygdala. So this has also, it's a study which has been done and which has shown that these kids do have decreased gray matter. And then a lot of studies have been done with regards to the EEG, that is the functioning of the brain. So the electrical activity of the frontal brain, when it is seen in these kids, it is generally hypothesized that frontal brain works more with executive functioning, handling of emotions. So that is where the regulation of emotions is there. So when they did a study, they found out that there was a greater activity which was noted in kids with conduct disorder in the frontal area of the brain. So kids exposed to physical violence, sexual abuse, neglect are very commonly tend to develop into initially maybe impulsive behaviors, but then that builds up over a period of time, becomes a repetitive pattern and develops into a conduct disorder. So ADHD could be a comorbid factor as well. Initially must have been an ADHD, but then over a period of time turned into, it went into become an conduct disorder. So sometimes CNS injuries, dysfunction, damage, also kids with HIE kind of damage to the brain, they may also have difficulties in emotional regulation, and they can also over a period of time can have conduct disorders. So generally we take a detailed history of all these things, try to find out, and then we diagnose the patient and then start working. So what we need to know about the clinical features of conduct disorder is it is never an acute onset. It won't happen all of a sudden. It is going to evolve slowly over a period of time. Initially, as I said, impulsivity followed by some attention hyperactivity issues, followed by some aggressive behaviors, and then that becomes a pattern where the child becomes excessively aggressive and tends to kind of start damaging, and all the other features develop. So it's generally seen age of onset in boys is around 10 to 12 years, and in girls it's 14 to 16 years, but can also be seen in girls also from around 9 to 10 years of age. So they do have, these kids with conduct disorder, they have antisocial behaviors in the form of bullying. They can bully other kids, cruel behaviors towards their own peers. So they are never able to maintain a good peer relation. They also have a lot of hostility, and they may be verbally abusive. There will be a lot of defiance and negative towards adults, because probably there must be some factors which have caused these things. They do lie. They will never tell. Most of the times, initially, they don't tell the truth. They try to hide their emotions. And then there's a lot of truancy. As I said, vandalism is there. Stealing is there. In these kids, very early use of tobacco, alcohol, substance abuse is seen. And most commonly, they will also have suicidal thoughts, some gestures and acts. They can say, why am I living, or why have I come here? I should die. So we have seen these kind of kids who come and say to us, they have these kind of thoughts basically. So some have impaired social attachments. They are not able to develop attachment with any person around, and poor self-esteem. Their confidence level is extremely low. They do not, they lack skills to communicate in a socially acceptable way. So they may have guilt or remorse for some of their behaviors, but then they always try to blame others for it. So also, it's also seen recently, I've come across this thing that playing violent video games early in the childhood. So if a child is playing, say, somewhere around 3 to 4 hours of violent video games, this can also lead to aggression, a physiologic arousal, and with other cofactors can lead to a conduct disorder in children later in life. So we have degrees of conduct disorder. One is mild, where the child has mild symptoms. They have limited behavioral problems and it can be managed. Then comes moderate. So there are moderate symptoms and they do have numerous behaviors and but still manageable. And then there is severe conduct disorder. They have lot many symptoms and this really needs an immediate attention and treatment. So when it becomes that the child kind of physically hurts others or damages, there is a big amount of damage which the child causes. So mild symptoms can be kind of just bullying someone. So that's not really hurting someone physically. Moderate can be maybe a theft or maybe just pickpocketing or stealing something which will not cause a harm to anyone physically or mentally. And then severe is where you are physically assaulting a person or you are causing accidental damage. Then that comes in the severe form. So there is no specific pathology or lab test which can diagnose conduct disorder. It's more with the history and with the diagnostic criteria which has been discussed. That's the DSM-5. We also need to look into differential diagnosis of ADHD and oppositional defiant disorder. So disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, and then if the child is having depression, and again specific learning disorder. So sometimes because of a learning disorder which is common in kids, they are not able to pick up with their peers, and then there is a comparison, there is nagging everywhere, and that's how this child becomes disruptive. So we need to rule out whether the cause for this conduct disorder is an underlying thing like a learning disorder or an ADHD, because we need to treat this for the symptoms of a conduct disorder to get better. So treatment wise, we have psychosocial interventions where we have parental counseling, child counseling, and then we have pharmacological interventions where we have atypical antipsychotics like risperidone, olanzapine, aripiprazole, which will treat the aggressiveness of the child, will calm down the child a little. And then we have selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors like fluoxetine, sertraline, citalopram, which will help with impulsivity, irritability, and mood lability. There is use of anti-epileptic drugs also, but with limited benefit. So it as such is not advised frequently. And then treatment of concurrent disorders like ADHD, LD, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, if any, they need to be treated for a better improvement in the child. So this is what, so now for the present case, as we said, we have started connecting with the child and we have started to build a rapport so that we know what triggers the child. And then we are going to put down, we have also put down certain goals with regards to this child's behaviors and goals for the parents as well. We have started connecting with the parents and somehow things have started improving back home, and also the child is picking up in academics. So hopefully going forward, this child will do better after a few months. Yeah.
So is it a obsessive compulsive disorder or something else?
Sorry, ma'am, I didn't get you.
Is it an obsessive compulsive disorder? It's an OCD or anything else?
No. So we have presently not done any formal evaluations for this child because we initially start with working with the child. We try to find out what exactly is wrong. We put up goals, and then over a period of time, we have done a formal evaluation, informal educational evaluation. But right now we have not put kind of any diagnosis for her, but we suspect it's a conduct disorder and not an OCD.
So the treatment plan is different for OCD and for this conduct disorder.
Yes, ma'am.
It's an interesting case, definitely, and we would like to know what will happen to is going to happen to the child after a few months, and how many months or years you are expecting to treat this child.
So because this is more of a behavior, ma'am, and it's a comprehensive treatment of the family as well, because there are some family issues as well. So we need to work together. So right now, because we have just started off, and first to set things right, to make the parents understand that it's not only getting the child to the center, but then there are a lot of things which they also need to change with regards to their behaviors. So we did not set a timeline, but hopefully in the next maybe 6 to 9 months, things should be better than before.
So do you give treatment to prevent the guilt which is there for these children after they steal anything?
So, ma'am, she does not. So, generally, in conduct disorders, they generally do not have any remorse or guilt or affect of it. So, they do not have. In kleptomania, that is one differentiating factor. So, kleptomania, they do have the guilt of stealing. But in conduct disorders, they have no guilt. Rather, there is no remorse, there is no affect. Rather, there is a denial that, it's because of someone else. So generally, first we need to make them understand what is a normal good behavior, what is a bad behavior, what is a socially acceptable behavior. So because somewhere they do not know these things also. So we need to start working from there.
And how legally this act is taken then? They get a punishment for that?
It depends upon to whom they have caused the violence. I mean, generally, in a setting like India, it's parents apologize and take over whatever expenses. But obviously, yes, if someone complains, then there may be. But I mean, at least in our case, there has not been any such legal issues till now. Otherwise, generally, when there is a complaint, there is a child rehabilitation center, and then the child is sent there for all these things. But in her case, this has not happened.
So, is she having any guilt for her?
No, she does not, ma'am. She does not have any guilt.
Then you said in kleptomania they have guilt and they feel ashamed of.
So she is not a typical case of kleptomania. The differential diagnosis initially we had put as a conduct disorder and kleptomania. So when we took a detailed history and then when we started speaking to the child, when we started having sessions with her, we realized that there is no guilt for it. There is no remorse for it.
At this age, guilt comes like.
So she's 10 years. She's around 11 years basically. So yes, it comes. They do understand what their actions can lead to.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the opinion of Dr. Samir Dalwai?
Sorry, ma'am.
What is opinion of Dr. Samir Dalwai regarding
So,
this?
sir basically never puts a label to any child. What we believe in New Horizons, he will never say that the child has this. But then, yes, when we have a differential diagnosis, we did discuss that probably this is kind of an learning disability, which has led over a period of time from the child did not go to nursery, directly went to grade 1. So probably there has been a lag in education, and that has led to all these things, the child becoming impulsive, and then in the home front, the parents nagging, comparing with other siblings. So multiple things which have now over a period of time led to this kind of repetitive aggression. So this is what we have kind of discussed about this case. So we are working on the learning part. We are working on the attention issues, the concentration issues which the child is having. We have also started some basic medications to calm her anxiety and also this aggressive behaviors. And we have started counseling her also.
So these medications must be increasing the amount of sleep they are getting. Is it?
So some of them do increase, may cause a little bit of drowsiness, but generally in her, it's not reported. So in every child, it does not increase the amount of sleep. But in her, they have not reported any such thing, ma'am.
So you titrate the dose accordingly? Like.
Yes, ma'am. We titrate the dose accordingly. So we start with a suboptimal dose to start with so that the body gets adjusted, and then eventually we slowly increase the dose. Looking at the response rate, we decide whether do we need to step up the dose.
And if you're saying there is ADHD with such symptoms of kleptomania also, then how you manage like multiple conduct disorders in one person?
Yeah. So, conduct disorder itself is one thing, but then there are co-factors. As we said, the child has a learning disability, the child has a component of ADHD. So, when the child walked into us, we designed a program for her, which includes working on her academic skills, first finding out where her level is, so that that part is dealt with. And then again, we also made a plan for her where we will be dealing with her hyperactivity, her attention span, her concentration level. So those set of treatment, basically that set of treatment also we incorporated into our program. At the same time, for the child to kind of develop a rapport with us, a one-to-one counselor, a psychologist at our center, we build up certain goals which we are going to work slowly one after another, as in when the child started coming to us. Then, first what we believe is that the child has to open up to us, because we need to know what are the thoughts of the child. So whether the child is having any disruptive thoughts or kind of any other suicidal thoughts, because these are kind of a little bit severe ones. So we kind of try to pick up from her what exactly it is. So this is called a customized program for her. It is not same for every child with conduct disorder, because out of 15 symptoms, the child may have only 4 or some may have 10. So we need to customize the program as per that. And at the same time, we have also included the parents, because that is one essential part which we believe any child with any developmental disorder, maybe a conduct, maybe an autism, maybe an ADHD, just by coming to our center for 2 days or 3 days, the child won't get well in an hour. It is basically the parents who need to handle back home. They should know what is to be done, what is not to be done. And, including them in this whole process is very essential. So we have also made a program for the parent. That's a separate parental program. So we have started counseling the parents how you need to handle this child, how you need to develop a motivation, or how you need to kind of appreciate this child, give her responsibility. So there are multiple things which we have designed and we have started working towards. So whenever we start with a program, it is all the things which we keep in mind, and then we design the program for her.
And how much percentage of recovery in such children? Like if they complete the treatment, how much percentage of recovery?
So,
Like
yeah, so conduct disorders are generally, ma'am, so if there is any CNS associated issues, maybe a brain injury or kind of a malformation leading to this, so it will not be a complete recovery, because there is a kind of a pathological reason. But yes, over a period of time, if the child does not has any such issue or no genetic factors involved, generally they recover well. I mean, it is like, they go on to have friends, they go on to make good peers, their behaviors are regulated. So it does happen over a period of time. Even the other part who have a CNS injury or a malformation or any other underlying structural issue, they also tend to become better, because their understanding with whatever we do, with whatever the parents do together, whatever we do, they start getting better. So the understanding improves.
So you
Like-
also mentioned that the playing video games with aggression and having sleep deprivation or excessive screen time do increase such type
Yes.
of conduct disorders. So
Yes, ma'am.
this is a very important message. I think everybody now getting
Yeah, so
all
I specifically mentioned that because we all are parents and we all are doctors. We do have, we see a lot of kids. So at least that message should go across, that even if your child has a little bit of behavioral issues which are not so concerning, but kind of at least avoid the triggering factors for this. So triggers are screens, triggers are these kind of violent games. So all these things, if we can avoid, maybe probably the child going into a recurrent repetitive pattern, impulsive behavior will become less.
This child has 3 to 4 hours screen time per day.
Yes,
Isn't it?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So now in the past 3 months, it has become 0. So we were successfully able to control the screen time. So we will give an update about you, about the progress. We will share with, I mean, people on the group. So you will also get to know how the child is doing. So
Sure.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, Inderjit, you want to say
Yeah,
something?
yeah. I would like to thank Dr. Lekha, Dr. Dimple, and Dr. Madhu for such an important and excellent case discussion and also a revision of the conduct disorders. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Now, moving on to the next, we will be discussing the Palghar epidemiology of Palghar for this month.
Shall I start?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
madam.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for staying up till the end for the epidemiology. I would like to thank Dr. Manjusha, Dr. Jayashree, Dr. Anuradha, and Dr. Njedi, especially for giving me this opportunity to share what are the cases I saw and what is the epidemiology I have seen patients in Palghar. So sad part of the thing is the season has still not picked up. The OPDs are still very less nowadays. We have not picked up. The season has not begun. What we now see is these associated lower respiratory tract infection, uh, responding to symptomatic treatment. All the two of my patients had high fever and I had to give them antiviral medicines. So they responded well. None of them required oxygen in this season, but two of the patients were tachypneic and they required Tamiflu for the tachypnea, and they settled with antibiotics and antiviral medicines. Now, there are cases of viral gastroenteritis responding to symptomatics, probiotics and zinc and ORS. And two cases of I had of bacillary dysentery with frank pus and blood in the stools. They responded to antibiotics. I had one OPD patient, a neonate, less than 28 days, who came with history of straining at passing urine while passing urine. He was a neonate, less than 23 days old baby. So I checked his urine. Urine was normal. Then I don't know what struck me. We went for a sonography and we found posterior urethral wall obstruction. So we are posting that patient for a pediatric nephrology surgeon opinion, and then we will decide on that. But the flaw is that we could not diagnose that case antenatally. We went to see his antenatal sonography reports, but they have not reported any PUH obstruction thereafter then in antenatal period. And we had a case, a big girl, 11 years old girl, who was fond of eating outside food. She used to go with her grandfather while coming back from school and eat outside food. She came with subacute intestinal obstruction. The sonography showed pancreatitis. She responded to antibiotics and she went home successfully. There was no surgical intervention which was required. So with viral lower these associated LRTIs, gastroenteritis, some cases of dysentery, pancreatitis, and one OPD case which I saw of PUG obstruction. Nothing else from my end. This is what I saw in last month, June, till now. So I would like the others to respond to what they have seen in last month.
I have two cases of febrile neutropenia, maybe viral origin or it's like early signs. NS1 dengue was negative, but SGOT was raised. So maybe of viral origin, and they responded very well without any treatment for hydration and wait and watch treatment.
Yeah, we also have seen similar cases of febrile neutropenia and thrombocytopenia, whose dengue tests are negative, both NS1 and IgM. So we have not given them, we've just monitored them and looked after them, and they start responding after 2 or 3 days. The white blood cells count starts increasing, even the platelets start increasing, and they can go home. So we have also had similar cases.
Dr. Vaibhavi, you want to say something? You want to share your experience? And Dr. Anuradha, Dr. Inderjit?
I'm seeing mostly viral URTIs, gastroenteritis, and not other cases. Like I have seen one entry fever patient, and that's it. Nothing
Yeah,
else.
of late there are a lot of viral fevers lasting for almost 6 to 7 days. So there are plenty of such patients, like the virals lasting almost for 7 days, sometimes 8 days. Counts always normal. So such cases, and there is an increase in the gastroenteritis cases. Otherwise, no other specific cases. Even visa-associated LRTI are not seen that much as they are seen in this season.
Yeah.
General URTIs, LRTIs, viral.
I
That's it.
saw all waterborne, 3 cases of viral hepatitis in Municipal Corporation Hospital.
Yes. Going with today's topic of nutrition, we have one case of vitamin B12 deficiency, severe vitamin B12 deficiency admitted, and now started on treatment. Since we still see so many nutritional deficiencies, and rest are what everyone has said, the same viral things we are also seeing. Yeah.
Please present this case next in our. Please present this case in next CME.
It is vitamin B12 deficiency only.
There is something which we have diagnosed. We usually suspect. Now you are diagnosed specifically, so we would like to hear from you.
Okay, madam. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Dr. Manjusha, madam, do you see any different or specific cases in this?
No, I too, as Vaibhavi told, I too had one case of like, baby was born premature and she was okay, and then she came for the follow-up after 6 months to me. They went to the village, and at 7.5 months, baby had a delayed motor development, not much in the neck, hold and anemia, everything, and that turned out to be vitamin B12 deficiency. So we have put on that, and now baby is improving gradually. Anyway, all developmental support also we are giving her. Other screens are also normal, but only complementary feeding, as Dr. Rupal ma'am told, how important is complementary feeding is essential in child growth. So vitamin B12 deficiency is very common.
Yes, madam. Basically, we are missing vitamin B12 and all this hypotonics and delay in motor milestone, even means after this reading, whatever speech delays, like today we had a session on development also. So speech delays, the motor delays, all could be related to vitamin B12 also. So like
So we were so scared that this baby should not turn up into CP baby like any developmental, but it has stuck to vitamin B12. At least with the diagnosis, we are happy that we could do something.
Yes, madam, because vitamin B12 as it progresses and if there is motor delay, then it is causing cerebral atrophy and permanent.
Right, right.
Is good, and usually this is happening between when we start the complementary feeding, that is after the 6 months we start to see these things. So if anemia is there, and sometimes there is dimorphic anemia also, means the anemia is not so much, like in our child hemoglobin is only 9 g/%, but since there hyperpigmentation of the knuckles and the ankles and all, we suspected vitamin B12 and we have sent the B12 which is low. And today to do the mother's vitamin B12 also to see whether it is from maternal side,
exactly,
or if it is due to some enzyme deficiency. We'll await the report and then.
And they have macrocytic anemia, no? That at least on the smear we can see.
Yes.
We can locate and diagnose.
Yes. So the same things, viral URTIs and gastroenteritis, and
Yeah.
and all same. Yes, ma'am.
Thank
White
you.
blood cells are multi-lobed in B12 deficiency.
Yeah.
Megaloblastic anemia.
Megaloblastic anemia.
And what Rupal madam was saying that that is that NPTEL course. It is available on the website. We can visit the website by going on to Google, and there are multiple courses in that. So we have to choose about the nutrition course. And on YouTube also there are excellent videos. Inderjit madam, what you are asking about the powders and all, it is given on the YouTube also. And I have started sprouts powder of that. I liked it. Mixing all the sprouts means taking different sprouts together, drying them and taking it into powder. And then I advise the mothers to put this powder in dal and cook it. So because the kids, we say eat sprouts, even we don't eat so much cupful of sprouts every day. It is not possible. So if we grind and if the powder is made, it is easy to digest also, and quantity is also more. So I have started adding sprout powders to those whose weight gain is not so good and all.
It is amylase rich. Amylase rich.
Amylase rich, yes. It is amylase rich. Once you sprout them and then dry them and powder them, it becomes amylase rich.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. That's all.
That's a very good take-home message, Vaibhavi, you have given. Now I request Dr. Inderjit to proceed for the further proceedings.
And Dr. Hemant Joshi is the observer. He has joined us.
He has joined? Yeah.
Yeah.
We would like to have his comments, sir. Hemant Joshi, sir?
Hemant?
I'd seen train.
He was in the train, I think, in between.
Yeah, he's in the train. So let's see if he can join us. Just calling him. Can you join us, Hemant? We are waiting for you. We are waiting for your comments.
Okay.
He's going to come in. Sir, bola.
Yeah, I'm grateful to all the great speakers. You did a great job. And moderator should not speak more than this. Observer should not speak more than this. Thank you very much.
So ideal moderator and ideal observer.
I have been already cursed for doing more than that. So I'm learning.
So
Okay.
now I request Dr. Anuradha to give a vote of thanks.
So good evening, everyone. Today's session was excellent. Dr. Rupal Dalal is doing excellent work, and we came to know through this CME. And really, I think we should also join her, or we should also go for such work. She's doing it extensively at this young age, and I think we should also think on it. I am trying to do it in my area, like Vasai Virar Municipal Corporation, but in small scales. So I thank you, Dr. Rupal Dalal, madam, and I thank you, Women's Maha AP Committee, Dr. Manjusha and others for joining today's program. And I thank you all the speakers of New Horizon team, Dr. Nagrade, Dr. Shikha and Dr. Dimple for enlightening us about the conduct disorder and kleptomania. So, and I thank you all the seniors of IIP Palghar and Maha IIP Women's Committee. Thank you so much.
We thank also Dr. Inderjit Pandit to moderate the session very well. And we thank Dr. Pallavi Dharmadhikari who allowed us to have this session very well. Thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Amol Pawar and Ram Gopal Chezara sir for and as they have Dr. Manjusha madam is to represent them actually.
Yes,
And
yes.
Dr. Grivita Raikar also is there to represent
Yeah,
the
and
Maha.
thank you, Dr. Grivita, also. Thank
Yeah.
you, our beloved observer, Dr. Hemant Joshi, sir.
Thank you so much,
Chalo,
madam,
thank
for
you.
calling
Thank you
him.
so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Chalo,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.